Unfortunately, many divers, and I know from people telling me that they take things home, you know, and their partners might say, oh, what do you want that ugly, smelly thing for? And they say, no, it's very nice and I like it. And maybe after a month or 2 months or a year, it started deteriorating and it's sort of giving off little bits and pieces. They're flaking off and that. And after a while, what unfortunately happens is that people throw things away. And then not only have they lost it, everyone's lost it. And we've lost the significance of it. We've lost any information we could have got, where it came from, what it was doing there. It's gone, and it's gone forever. And that is why we try to encourage people to hand things into the museum, where everyone will then have access to those items.
There is no doubt that one of Gibraltar's hidden treasures, which can be found in our waters all year round, are the many pods of dolphins that swim into the bay area and beyond, looking for food, shelter and also to breed. Dolphin watching in the bay has been described by many as an unforgettable and amazing experience.
Baby, I'm playing on you tonight. Hunt you down, eat you alive. Just like animals, animals like animals most. Maybe you think that you can hide. I can smell yourself for miles. Just like animals, animals like animals most. Maybe
I think it would be very fair to say that the Bay of Gibraltar has got hidden treasure swimming around in it. And we are very lucky to have it right on our doorstep. The first time I saw a dolphin was actually in Battersea Amusement Park in London back in about 1967, I think. And I remember thinking at the time that it was a very small pool that this dolphin was living in. Obviously I was only 7 at the time. I didn't know dolphins were becoming a major part of my life when, in later life. And we worked as an operator to try and stop having dolphins in captivity. It's something we're involved with a lot of organisations to try and stamp it out. And of course people's attitudes change towards it now as well. People know that it's wrong to keep killer whales and bottlenose dolphins in captivity. VTS Dolphin Adventure 2, just for information, sir, we're just on our way out with 15 passengers plus a 04 crew over. Okay, we're about 10 minutes out into the trip now. We've just left Marina Bay and we're heading more or less west to the centre of the bay. And then we're going to make a left turn which will take us down towards the Straits. And we've got such nice conditions today, the sea's nice and flat. It's a very stable boat anyway, so it's nice and comfortable for the passengers. And then I think that's where we're going to start our search today. We'll be just on the edge of the Straits of Gibraltar. And the benefit we have from finding dolphins out there is that we find an awful lot more of them. Up in the north end of the bay, we know we're going to find 4 or 5, but if we head out south, we increase our chances of finding some really big pods, which for the passengers is absolutely fantastic. Nice to see 4 dolphins, but it's nicer to see full sea. Dolphin Adventure is primarily a dolphin watching organisation. We take people out to see the dolphins, but you have to bear in mind we're out there nearly every day of the year. We see a lot of what's going on, which puts us in a fantastic situation where we can research dolphins, what dolphins movements are happening in the bay and why we think these movements are happening. And because we've been doing it for so long, we have years and years worth of data which needs to be processed by someone, and Rocio, our marine biologist, actually processes all that data and puts it onto maps.
Okay guys, so what we're doing now is looking for these dolphins. Normally what we use to locate them is binoculars, and so what we do is we collect data, we take pictures of photo identification, and at the end all this data help us to locate these dolphins because they got better areas or like specific areas where they want to like to be. This time of the year normally our main population, that is the common dolphins or big common dolphins, they normally move more to the Alboran seas, and we stay only with local pods. And these local pods, at the moment, they move a lot. It's where we get the influence of another species, like the bottlenose dolphins, that they normally come at this time of the year and spring. Looking for what we photograph has been bottlenose dolphins with conger eels on the beak. So they come here to locate that conger eels, bass, or cuttlefish. And as well, we get big pods crossing the straits. They don't come into the bay straight, but they stay around the area of around like 500 to 1,000 striped dolphins with babies. So at the moment, what we're doing is we are covering as much area as we can, and all of us with binoculars trying to locate those fins, jumps, splashes, or irregularities that you can see on the surface. Yeah, have a look in line with the container ship. Yeah. Yeah. There is a sailing boat as well. Between that line, I've seen splashes. More dolphins over there. More dolphins over there, guys. Coming. Yes. So what we're doing now, we just saw the dolphins. So what we do is we collect the data for the first sighting. That is when we see them. Yeah, we collect position, angles, and distance. And once we get closer, we can see the direction of the dolphins as well. So we keep assessing what we see. We collect, as I said, our bearing, distance. Once we get there, we collect our contact position again. And that will be coordinates, bearing, and speed. And from there, our speed will be less than 6 knots. Because what we do, what we are trying to assess with this methodology, is to see how much the behavior of the dolphins change from when we see them to when we contact them.
I think generally in Gibraltar, people do appreciate our wildlife. And I think a lot of people are very conservation minded.
And the amount of dolphins that we see. As well, a new data that we add is parasites, because we want to create a relation between parasites and pollutions in animals. So in general, as well, we collect, how many parasites in general they have and the species of the parasites.
Just 2 days ago, we found a pod of orca, killer whale, out there, which is absolutely spectacular to see. It doesn't happen very often, and of course you can never predict when it's going to happen. But on average, once or twice a year, we'll find orca out there. We know through our research that they normally live in the Tarifa Barbate area, south of Tarifa and west, heading out into the Atlantic. And the last time that this killer whale was in this pod of killer whales were in the bay was 2012. And we know that because we can recognise their dorsal fin. If you've seen the pictures, you'll notice at the top of the male's fin there's a little nick, which is how we're able to recognise him. We call him Morales.
This species, the short-beaked common dolphin, they feed mainly in pelagic fish. The big migration of the pelagic fish start happening now when the currents start working faster. They come from the Atlantic, and these dolphins, what they use is the bay. They coral the fish, they take the fish here, they coral the fish, and they chase the fish into shallow waters of the refinery. That's why in summer we have big concentrations of dolphins, and mainly common dolphins because of that, because we got horse mackerel, flying fish, we got garfish, and this is the diet of these common dolphins.
In the bay, we have a resident pod of dolphins, which is a small group of common and striped dolphin, which are here pretty much all year round. If we don't find them in the bay, maybe they're just out in the straits, but we do see them all year round. Now, just behind us, we've got a lot of bunkering going on, which is for Gibraltar is a massive industry. It's a very big business. We can't see any reason why bunkering does actually affect the dolphins. I guess as long as there's no oil spills, probably not. I think the movement of ships doesn't really have an impact. Certainly doesn't have an impact on the dolphin movements within the bay. Fishermen laying fishing nets, for sure, that has a detrimental effect on marine life. And I think the fact that people would do it, people from across the border will allow their nets to drift into Gibraltar, sparks off this whole territorial thing. But at the end of the day, it's about what's in the sea and the damage that's going to get done. Whether the net's in Gib or whether the net's in Spain, it does as much damage wherever it is. Fishing from the shore doesn't really have an effect on the dolphins. But what we've seen a lot of in the last couple of years is the conservation payback from protecting the tuna for the last 4 or 5 years. We hardly ever used to see tuna in the bay jumping out, chasing fish in the bay. But now, in the summer, it's a common thing. We'll see tuna and dolphins in the same group, chasing the same fish. Literally jumping out the water, chasing these fish. But a flip side of that is that the fishermen are doing what's called popping, where they're just casting into the middle of a pod of dolphins. And a dolphin will never pick a lure up because they can tell the difference between a lure and an actual fish. But the problem becomes an issue when they're reeling it in, pulling it back across the pod of dolphins. And we've seen some horrible pictures of dolphins that have been injured from this going on. But I think now with the new ordinance that's been introduced into Gibraltar, I'm hoping we'll see an end to this. We get 2 questions that we get asked on nearly every trip every dolphin trip we do on the boat. One of them is, can you feed the dolphins? And the other one is do you get sharks in the area? No, we can't feed the dolphins. They wouldn't be interested in anything. And sharks, I've been diving here for 26 years. I've seen one baby blue shark just off of Seven Sisters, and that's the only time I've seen a shark. So I think probably the answer to we get sharks here. Yeah, we do get them out of the straits, but there's so much food out there. I don't think they would need to come into the bay.